Hi, my name is Gary Allen, and I'm the General Vice President of the Western Territory. My friends and my brothers and sisters, I know that you've noticed the renaissance that's going on in the labor movement right now. At the centerpiece of that renaissance are young workers and young representatives. And today we'd like to share a few of the stories of our young representatives in the Western Territory.
Diana's union life started long before she became an IAM member. At 12 years old, she joined her machinist father for the 57-day strike for better wages and working conditions at Boeing in Seattle, Washington. From that moment, being union ran through her veins.
My dad understood from the very start that it was about the next generation, which is why he brought me to the rallies.
Today, at 26 years old, she's the first Asian vice president of Local 751F. And the youngest to ever hold that position. Being inexperienced doesn't mean you're incapable. Words of advice from her mentor.
You don't have to be tenured here for 10, 15 years to be able to go into these roles. If you want to get involved and you feel strongly about it, you should get involved.
That's what her generation is doing. Changing the world by speaking up and taking a stand.
I was blessed to be raised in a union house. Not everybody knows what a union is or has union households around them. But I'm seeing a lot of kids my age recognize the injustice, and they're actually speaking up.
And the Western Territory is leading the charge by cultivating young and fearless union leaders that reflect the membership. The world is changing, and so too is the IAM.
To get more people of color into the union is to keep this ball rolling, is to keep showing them that leadership can be people of color. It can come from multiple different backgrounds. They could be from a union household, born and bred, or not. It's all about the community.
Milton was raised by an immigrant, Spanish-speaking single mother who taught him everything, especially what it means to be union.
My mom taught me that, right? Like, it's in my blood. Like, everything you do is, everything we have, right, is because our union helped me. So I knew unions are like a good thing.
It's why he got involved with the IAM when he was an employee with the city of Long Beach under a machinist contract. Today, he's 27 years old and a business rep with Local 1930, changing lives for workers and their families like his mama did.
Well, the union taught my mom, her rights, right, and to stand up for herself and stand up for her coworkers. Like, one of the things my mom has instilled in me to this day is, it's not about yourself, it's about standing up for others.
His mother's advice still rings true today, leading him to chase organizing leads you wouldn't think of when you hear the word machinist. But their cause is our cause.
And that's why we're spreading like wildfire, like in the nonprofit sector, because it's like an untouched area. And a lot of these people, you don't even have to do the explaining. They already know the importance of a union.
Because to organize today's workforce, we can't look like yesterday's union.
Okay, so you want to organize immigrant workers? We need to hire immigrant workers. You need to match your audience. You want to hire you want to organize young people? Or, bring on young people.
That's exactly what's happening at the IAM. The mission is to mentor and educate those who, growing up, didn't know that union means you and I.
And if they've had someone like Sal or Gary that knows how the unions changed their life and came and told them that, I'm pretty confident that that person would want to get involved or try to unionize their workplace.
Before she could drive, Emily was walking the picket line with her machinist union dad when IAM workers struck Raytheon missile systems in 2006.
I stood on the picket line with him during the holidays, and that really struck a chord with me because I saw the family and just the connection that everybody had. And it was neat to see that although we were struggling, we were united.
The 30-year-old now works for Raytheon as a shop steward and recording secretary for Local 933. Her machinist papa couldn't be more proud of what she's doing.
I love my dad, and he's made a big impact in my life for more reasons than one.
She knows she has some big shoes to fill to make sure her generation steps up and keeps this movement strong. It's time to make space for everyone, as the Western Territory has done for people like Emily.
It doesn't matter what color you are, what shape you are, it doesn't matter what gender you are. You have your own voice, and that is something amazing.
How to make this happen is the obstacle. Emily always encourages new members to ask questions and speak up in meetings. But she won't forget what her dad taught her. Technology can help in reaching new audiences, but it's not the key to success.
We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those things, but sometimes it's just not enough. There's just something about your old-fashioned face-to-face phone call that it just hits people because they see the sincerity.
Emily carries Dad's union pride and tenacious spirit.
Come on, kiddo, as we walk off into the sunset.
Like him, she fits right in with the fighting machinists.
Something my dad always says, if you're falling down, you're still moving in a forward motion. And it's true, so I want to try everything I possibly can in order to organize this younger generation.
Politics was the life Melissa was destined to live, or so she thought. But after a few years working as a political campaign consultant, she saw a huge disconnect between the values the politicians were talking about and how they actually treated their staff.
When you're working on a political campaign, you have things called supporter housing. And it's a way for candidates to keep costs down. They pay you less because they say, well, we'll put you up in a supporter housing. But you have no rights to say, hey, this place feels uncomfortable, or I'm not okay with this.
She needed to find a different way to serve working people. That's what brought her to District Lodge 160, where she now uses her political know-how to organize workers.
This work that we do, it's so important, but we're playing with real stakes. It's not just you lose an election, you lose someone's livelihood. So in so many ways, this is life and death work.
Her philosophy is that workers need to learn to claim their rights. She believes unions are the only way to do that.
There's no way a working person on their own can stand up to this system which is stacked against working people. If you want to survive, you have to find a way to beat the system and to outsmart the corporations. And I firmly believe unions are our last best hope at doing that.
Melissa is a prime example of the new type of IAM organizer. Not machinist born, but machinist bred.
I was not a machinist by trade, but I have found a home here because of the machinist union's willingness to say, okay, what can we do to help?
That's because of the Western Territory's practice of developing activists, specifically younger ones, who will keep the legacy of this great union going.
We're at a critical moment because our politics and our political system is so broken. It's going to come down to workers. And if we want to get money out of politics, we need to get workers a voice in their workplace.
Husband, father, veteran, union. That pretty much sums up Scott Lacey, and he's good with that. In his house, being IAM is a family affair. Today, he's the conductor sentinel at IAM Local 63 in Portland, Oregon, with his wife at his side as the recording secretary and his sister-in-law as president. All three were part of the first Young Machinist program created by the IAM to cultivate the next generation of union leaders.
It did. It snowballed into something huge. I mean, and now all of those people who were involved, they moved up through the union, and now a lot of us are sitting up in front at the meetings.
Bringing back all they learned from the Wimpensinger Center, the three got to work, and the local had their back.
Our local in particular, our leadership before we stepped into power really took and mentored us. There's a lot of really good folks with a lot of good knowledge who really pushed us forward.
Today, community service is the norm at Local 63. For nearly a decade, they have been selling Christmas trees to fund what they call Foster Care Christmas. a donation program which provides for hundreds of foster kids each year.
Yeah, I got tents, I got a big union poster up, and I got my kids out there even saying, oh, this is for the union, we're helping foster kids. It works great. It really does, and it gets my kids involved in the union.
Scott believes showing the world all the good that stems from our union family will keep the IAM going strong for another 134 years. His oldest son was recently hired at Boeing, another game changer for the next generation of machinists and the Lacey family.
Pretty damn proud. I mean, I'm really kind of hoping, getting into having a really damn good union job has completely changed my quality of life. So to see my kids be able to get that opportunity at a younger age, and I'm hoping generationally that just can continue, and my grandkids and my great-great-grandkids can be better off at a younger and younger age.
"31 years old and already changing the law in New Mexico." That's Ashley Long, current president and directing business rep of Local 794.
When we can't achieve things at the bargaining table, when we can't achieve things through an issue-based organizing drive, we have to change the policy.
That out-of-the-box thinking is making waves in the Western Territory and changing the way they organize new industries and new members.
What we have to come to terms with is that our labor movement is changing. And if we as leaders don't reflect that change of youth, of women, of people of color, we won't continue to thrive as a labor movement.
Makes sense that a young leader at this local would be creating a culture shift. Ashley is proud to be the youngest woman taking the helm, but not the youngest person.
Yeah, General Vice President Allen took over our local when he was like 24 years old.
But this background is what drives Allen and his team to take a different approach to union leadership. Just because someone is inexperienced doesn't mean they can't do the job.
Not just talking the talk, but walking the walk, and that's what GVP Allen does. He works to hire a diverse staff that is reflective of the membership.
The young leaders of the West are forging a path, thanks to their hard work, dedication, tenacious spirit, and mentoring from the top leaders of this union.
There's an unseen, very quiet cohort across the country of young people in the Machinists Union, and that is something that makes me know, helps me to know that I can keep going, that we can keep going, and we'll be able to do it.
Changing lives for generations of workers, proud to be part of this union family.
Brothers and sisters, I'm incredibly proud of those young machinists. They're doing great work all over the territory. They're improving lives on a massive scale. And I just want you to know that we as leaders have the obligation to make sure that we make room for these young leaders. And here in the Western Territory, we've done that, and we're just beginning.